Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Long weekend of racing, long weekend of testing, long weekend of playing around with stuff. Saturday was the basically the first round of just pure club racing at SERCCC, which basically attracted quite a fair few people. It was a good, busy little turnout, which covered a lot of classes. Raced the good old GT, but I won't show you that because I wrecked it. I had a massive accident. Basically it steered straight into a board. Don't know why. The car was a bit weird and just went straight into the board. But this is basically a discussion about Sunday's racing down at Geelong RC car track, indoor asphalt, painted. What do you call it? Shouldn't say that. Borrel, that's right. Uncoated borrel but painted on the surface, and a new layout, which was, in my opinion, and some people agreed, some people didn't, you know, it is what it is, a brutal layout. Clip a corner or one of the curbs and it just sends the car in the stratosphere. Stay away from the corners, fantastic, not a problem at all. Had to get the car, pardon me, I raced TCR, do apologise for that, raced to TCR and had to get the chassis a little bit more, how would you call it, planted for the indoor, because it was quite tight in one or two of the sections, especially in the middle where it was a dead straight line if you got it right, or a slight squiggle to miss the two curbs that are there before you do a left hand turn onto a short straight to go back onto the big straight and go right around. Had to play around with that. Practice in the morning was good. The chassis was good. Ran the Yaris this time round. But with all the between the rounds and the qualifier, so we had 2 qualies and 3 finals. I'll put all the results up after as I speak about this, but it was pretty good. The chassis was pretty good, was getting better as the day went on. What I'll do, bear with me just for a sec. I'm back. I'll read you out the progress of the chassis as I played with it from yesterday, and how good it became as it went on. So we had qualifying one in TCR. Where are we? TCR results. Here we go. Jason Milbourne on first qualifier, and he was the man to beat. He was tonkin fast, accurate, very little in the way of mistakes. I, on the other hand, too many mistakes, but that's just another story. Just getting the car settled to be able to be driven hard and getting used to something different for me, which is only the second time I've taken the car down to Geelong. So Jason did a stonking 25.5, 6.42, which meant he was that shy of doing a 26 lapper. I was 12 seconds behind him on a 25.5.12, and Nick had way too many bobbles on the track and found himself on a 23.506. In qualifier 2, it was a different story. I think this is where I found myself literally testing the corners of the curbs. Oh yeah, it was a shocker. Too many curb riding and massive mistakes all over the place. Jason did a 25.504. Nick did a 25.509, just behind Jason. 2 mistakes saw him drop back, but he was hanging on to Jason pretty well. And myself, too many corners, too many catapults up into the stratosphere, landing, picking up, marshals flipping me over and all that type of stuff. No damage to the car, thankfully, but man, it was brutal touching those corners. Just trying to drive it way too tight. You just couldn't do it. 23.503. Now, we go back to what happened in the mains. A main 1 for good old TCR dudes. Played around with the chassis, did a couple of changes to it, still ran the body, but did a couple of changes to it to get a bit more stability on the rear of the car and not make it so squirrely. To give you an idea, at SERCCC, at Circ. This thing is on rails at Circ. No issues at all. I don't even have to think about trying to be careful to drive it. Straight round, do whatever it needs to. It is planted. The surface is just borrel painted. It needs a clean in the morning, as it does when we start racing, but the thing is planted. Hanging really well with the 17.5 guys when they're on the track and having a squirt around, and I'm just getting some practice and some running in on this. Ran the for the last 3 times at Circ and also that circuit yesterday, and Geelong ran the radials that we're going to be using for the TC event coming up in basically Easter weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. These tyres are now nudging, I think it's about 16 or 17 runs old. They're now gone right down to being a slick from a radial. No coming apart of the tyre from the rim. The rim's a nylon. The actual glue line on the rim to the tyre is brilliant. It just holds on a lot better than the ABC rims that we've been using in the past. They still do unglue under heavy load. These are nudging 16, 17 runs old. No ungluing at all, and the tyre wear is just about equal where you want to see it. No big fat lip. It's gone down to literally being a slick, and this is this set of front tyres I used at at Geelong for the whole Sunday's racing. Didn't touch them. I did change the rears around a little bit to try and find which tyre works best without trying to do way too much work on the front. Bear with me, I've got a call coming through. 1 second, guys. Alrighty, back again, and getting on to the A-main. The main changes to the car was left the tyres on the front as they are, which are the radials out of TP, the 34H radials. The rims, bloody brilliant. They don't deform, and the tyres don't unglue from them. That's 16, 17 runs as mentioned. Biggest difference on top of that was the sway bar, which is the rod type of sway bar. I changed that to 2mm, so the chassis has less roll, and it tends to rotate a lot flatter at Geelong compared to how I have it at Circ, which was with a little bit of roll. Redid the oils in it to 635 weight, which is about 50 weight in AE, so about 625, 635 weight. 3-hole piston, O-ring limiter going up so it can't bottom out too aggressively and find the chassis wanting to roll over too much. Left it on the outsidemost hole on the actual tower, so it's the outmost hole. The next softer spring, which is about a 2.7, these are 2.9, then you've got the 2.7, then 2.9, then 3.2 in the SNRC ones, in the actual springs by SNRC, and these are 21mm in height because it's a long shock. So that worked really good. That tamed the the front end of the car from being way too grippy coming into a corner, more progressive. Worked fantastic. The rear I left as it was, which is still at the Gold Springs. Again, long 21 shockers on these are the same. They've got about 625 oil. Playing with the front more than the rear because the rear was working, but the front I wanted to stop it from being too bitey going in. Left it as it is. Sway bar on the rear on that, as you can see. The shocks as they are. The tyres I played around with slicks and radials. These are 30, from memory with that, because I can't see the actual marking anymore on these. I think these were 32 slicks and 34 radials, and that seemed to work. So they were a little bit more planted, a little bit more controlled. These were the 32 radials. They did work, but I tried this and without actually checking whether or not the changes I did to the front, which was the Gold Springs before I changed this, worked. So I should have actually tried the 32 radials on the rear before I put these slicks on to try and see whether or not the change on the front which was the gold shock, made the difference. So my mistake there, I should have actually checked that change before changing the tyres. But to give you an idea, what do we got? A main 1, which was an exciting race. What did we have here? Oops, wrong one. Go back. Here we go. Jason cracked the 27 lap pace, drove magnificently. He was on point. So he did a 27.504. Nick in A1. No, that's actually what's just. Oh yeah, Nick in A1 did a 26.511 on point. I did too many little bobbles and couldn't quite catch up. Had an incident with Nick on the track that put me on my roof, so that put me back. I did a 25.504. Car was good. Felt better that race, but yeah, just couldn't make up the difference. So I had to rethink that, unfortunately. So I go to TCR A main 2. Okay, this is where it was a little bit more exciting. And what did I do there? I can't even remember. That's right. Car was absolutely hooked up brilliantly. 2 little mistakes trying to keep up with the pace of Jason, who set the pace from the start. Jason did a 27.501. The man was on fire. I cracked a 26er, 26.506. With those couple of mistakes as I drove, put me back a little bit, but could have done better, but that's just the way it is. Biggest problem I found on the car, and Nick unfortunately had an accident coming into the middle squiggly bit, which put him out. He did 17.322. Could have driven it a lot better. Biggest problem I found all weekend with it, the chassis became better and better the more I applied the little changes to it. Not big changes, just changes on the front to control the amount of roll on the front, considering it is a front engine front-wheel drive compared to a lot of the cars which are mid-engine front-wheel drive. All right. Biggest problem I had was brakes. I had literally nothing at all. At high speed, there were no brakes. So you'd hit the brake and the car just keep going. So it was a case of judging when to turn, especially in front of you. The short straight in front of you to the big right-hand corner to the infield. If you didn't hit your brakes at the right point or slow the car down, you'd hit the board at the end of the straight, which was the biggest problem. So I still could. So all Sunday driving with virtually no brakes. High speed, virtually no brakes. Maybe I'd say 10 or 20% feel on brakes. At low speed, the brakes would come on, but they'd slow the car down too much. So there was very much a big imbalance between going slow and going fast. So I found myself nearly smacking boards most of the time and pulling up at the last moment on a lot of the actual track when you're going way too fast. Put me behind, had to sort of, learn how to drive the car without brakes. But all in all, the chassis was awesome. It was planted. By the second A2, it was planted. We didn't go to an A3. Both Jason and Nick had to leave, so it was by myself with Jackson Durbridge in his 13.5 tour running. But I thought I'd rather run with the two guys to compare than just having laps by myself. So that was a non-event. But while the day went on with the two qualies and the two finals, the car just got better and better. It's now to a point where I'm comfortable to say that I'd be able to take this pretty much anywhere and sit within, depending on who's running, within the top 5 and understand the effect of the tyres on the car. No, by the way, on this, as I drop the chassis, on this, no heaters at all, just straight on the track. No heat, no nothing. The car was already gripping up as much as it can. If I thought that I'd had to need heaters on this to get some sort of grip happening, I'd be going backwards. The car would be so aggressive to drive. So no heaters on the front, no heaters on the back. The only thing I did to both the front and rear tyres was, when needed, just cleaned it down with TDK high grip or edge. I think it's high grip that I have in the box. Just clean the tyres down so they were fresh, clean tyres when I put them on the track. That's it. Didn't even bother, lazy being me, didn't even bother to sand the tyres down in between runs. Just ran them, clean and put them on the track again. Grip, pull out of the corner, turn in, fantastic. Tyres, brilliant. Cannot praise the tyres enough. So everyone on forums and that type of stuff say these tyres are better, these tyres are better, you get 20 runs, blah, blah, blah. You know, paid drivers. I'm not a paid driver, I do bring the stuff in, but I do compare to see what works and what does not work. I've tried the other brands' tyres, and on the balance of the car, I have to run 34 and above. I can't run 32s in the front. No chance. It just generates way too much grip and makes the car really edgy to drive. Some people can, I can't drive. So ran these, as I said, 16 to 17 runs old, just to clean and place on the track. The rear, experimenting with 32 slicks and 32 radials, pretty much the same, but I had to play around with the radials a bit to actually make them work, because they're a denser how would you call it, carcass than what the slicks are. So these tend to move around a lot. These don't tend to move around as much to generate grip. So they tend to give me grip immediately. These will build up the grip as the racing goes on. All in all, happy with the end up results of the chassis at Geelong. The car was on fire. It was good. Happy with the results. I'll post them all up so you guys can have a look at it and compare graphs from the Geelong live RC site and see how it goes. But SNRC, brilliant job. I ran the independent rear end, but I dare say, and no changes to the rear end, as I said, I'd say if you had the flipper, it'd be the same. It'd run identical with the flipper. The only reason for the independent rear end is to conform to the current rules as they stand. Body, I don't mind it. I'll find out if I can just paint up another body quickly to, I've got a spare, because this had a fair bit of hard hits and catapults out of the curbs at Geelong. Yeah, stay away from the curbs. Don't touch them. They are mental. Chassis had a hard life, but it survived, which is good. Thanks very much for your time and patience posting all this up with details, questions. Otherwise, give us a buzz. I'll try and do a list of all the changes that I did up to this final spec of the car on the site. Write them down, use them, play with them, do as you wish. And it's one thing I didn't mention, these little carbon bits here are body stoppers, so it doesn't touch the actual tyres. They're literally made out of just a cap head with a note at the bottom and a 4mm brace that comes off the MTS series. Stops the body touching the actual tyres. Works great, no problems. I'm looking at trying to get something made that's going to be a little bit less agricultural than this, but hey, it works. Why not? If it works, use it. Thank you for your time. Last sign off, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side down at SERCCC next time on the 14th. Have fun, good luck, take care of yourselves and your family. Goodbye.